with linear function coefficients from equation. So usually we focus on linear function, but we just talk about how to graph it based on slope-intercept form y equal mx plus b. We rarely cover the word problem in class, and this is actually a chance for us to understand linear function better, how to apply linear function in real life. Okay, let's start with this problem. Joseph needs a lease out a music studio to record his new album. The studio charges an initial studio use fee plus an hourly fee for each hour in the studio. The total amount of money Joseph would have to pay to use the studio for T hours can be determined using the function P of T equals 500 plus 75T. What is the y-intercept of the function, and what is its interpretation in the context of a problem? So there's many ways to approach this problem. First, let's use the slope-intercept form. So we know y equals mx plus b. And then we know m is the slope and b is y-intercept. But in real life problem, slope can be read as rate of change. And y-intercept is also known as initial value, or any flat fee that doesn't change throughout problem. So for this problem, we have P of T equals 500 plus 75T. So now we see that right here we have T, so we need to rearrange it a little bit. So P of T equals 75T plus 500. And now you can know right away 75 is the slope or rate of change, and 500 is initial value. So back to the question, what is the y-intercept of the function, and what is its interpretation in the context of a problem? So we know right away initial value or y-intercept is 500. And so 500 is y-intercept. And then what is interpretation in the context of the problem? So if you look at this one, we know that the hourly fee for each hour in the studio, but also the studio charges an initial studio use fee. And like what I said before, if it's initial value, it will not change throughout the problem. So in this case, 500 will stay the same, never change throughout the problem. So 500 will represent for initial, and this means initial studio use fee. So it doesn't matter how many hours you use, you have to pay 500 at the beginning. Okay. So this is the way we use the formula to look at it. Now next I will show you how to use table to look at it. So if we make a table. In this table, we'll base on T and P of T. So then T and P of T. So T represents for hours, and P of T represents for total amount money. So now, if he spends 0 hours, then he will have to pay, based on the equation, he has to pay 75 times T, which is 0, plus 500. That gives you $500. And then if it's 1, it's 75 times 1 plus 500 equal 575. 2, 75 times 2 plus 500 equals 650, and so on. So then what we know from the table is this one right here, Y-intercept, that when the Y-intercept is the value of P of t when t equals 0, which is 500. So same way, same answer, but different way to look at it. So 500 now is the initial value. And what does it mean by initial value? That means when you start out, when t equals 0, that means no matter, even you didn't spend any hours in the studio yet, you still have to pay this fee right here. Okay. Okay, so let's put in our answer. 500, and which represents, so they have the total numbers of hours Joseph used the studio. It's not the total number of hours. Next, the total price is not the total price. The initial fee of using the studio, yes, that's the initial fee, but we still check the last one to make sure. And last one, the additional price per hour, that's the rate of change. And initial value is, or the Y-intercept is not rate of change. So number 3, initial fee, submit answer. Yeah, okay. At the same time, we can use the graph right here to explain.